Right, I'm going to try and do a very, very, very basic video. If the chaos of this household doesn't interrupt me, of course, because at the moment it's all kicking off with the dogs, the children, my mum and dad, my brothers. It's just a war zone. So, yesterday, the mammoth video I made might not really be suited for most people, so I'm going to quickly whiz through a few fundamental basics of charts and what you would probably need to look at on YouTube, find various other videos that will elaborate on these subjects, probably more so than I will do right now. So on the daily chart, again, we're going to look at what's going on, but there are three basic ways that the price will move. It's sideways, bull market going up, bear market going down. So last year we can see that initially price had found this ranging channel, or moving sideways. So price had found, pushed down, found support, pushed up, and created this point of resistance for the ceiling. And then you can see prices just continue to move sideways, bouncing from top to bottom, top to bottom. At some point it did find a new level of support. So again, we can see the price did start to respect this level until ultimately we then had the initial bear run. So you can hear my dog downstairs barking at the house down, and it's 8:30 and he's probably trying to get some attention to go for a walk. So this blue arrow represents what you'd call an impulse leg. So that is any time price goes in a direction with some momentum. So instead of moving sideways, you've got an impulse up, and generally speaking, you'll see smaller pullbacks. So this other arrow here is a larger pullback. As you can see, price moving in a direction, you've got up, pullback, and again, this falls into sort of finding support, finding support, finding support. Alternatively, in a bear market, when price is moving an impulse leg down, what you tend to find is price goes down, pulls back up, finds resistance, goes down, finds resistance, goes down, finds resistance, so on, so forth. So, ranging markets, impulse legs up, impulse legs down. The next thing you need to be aware of is how do I identify the trend? What is the thing that I can use to help determine the direction? There's two things. One, when you're looking at your chart, typically on the higher time frames, because looking at the 5-minute chart, the hour chart can give a different story. But typically, if the price is moving from the bottom left of your screen to the top right of your screen, that indicates that the price is in a bear market, a bull market. Getting bloody confused now trying to do this so quickly. If then your price is going from the top left of your screen down to the bottom right of your screen, that is a bear market. Other things that you can use to determine the actual direction of price is trend lines. Now, I've got a couple of these purple trend lines drawn in place. Normally, I would go for the peaks or the tops of the wicks. If you've got 2 points, typically that is all you need to draw in a trend line, because as you can see, prices come up, hit the trend line, rejected it, come back up, rejected it. 3 points would be ideal, but again, if you're on TradingView, if you go to the line chart, you can probably see the points a lot easier than the candlestick. So if you're new, I would probably suggest, if you're trying to draw trend lines, support and resistance, use the line chart instead of the candlesticks, just because it will be a lot more straightforward. It won't line up perfectly, but it will give you on the line chart the ultimate highest point, lowest point, highest point, lowest point of that price for that day. So we're getting there. Now you can have various trend lines. So this one is obviously a steeper trend line, but also, you know, longer term when price starts to range. As you can see, you've got this point here, these 2 points here. So there's 3 points. That would be a great trend line. And you know what you're looking for to determine when a trend is over, because the saying goes, the trend is your friend until it is not, is when we have a breakout of price, which again, this impulse leg shows that the price has now invalidated this downward line as being the trend. So prices pulled back up, pushed back up even, pulled back, rejected the trend line, which does indicate that this trend is over and we're going to find some new areas of support. Again, blue arrow just to signify an impulse leg there, an impulse leg there. And last but not least, you have these other channels. So you have descending channels in a bear market and ascending channels in a bull market. But again, using channels or trend lines, you can determine where price is ranging, but in a downward movement. So typically in a bear market, as we've all been going through the last 9 months, a bear market would be where we are creating lower lows, price pulls up, and we've created a lower high to the previous high, and then price breaks down below here, lower low, and we've also got a lower high, and then price pushes down below this previous lowest point, creates a lower low, and when it pulls back up, we've also got a lower high. And then what has happened here is that price has broken not only this lower high and this lower high, it's retested this lower high, but certainly, as you can see, the two previous lower highs on the daily chart, again, bigger time frame, we've now created a higher high, higher close compared to these two, and also a higher low point compared to the previous low point. So as it's going, very good at the moment. I'm trying to just get this done before someone bursts into my room and says, "Joe, do you want to do something?" Or, ask me a silly question, or the kids start screaming at me. So, in a nutshell, that is what you've got. I would say if you're new, go on tradingview.com, try to draw in trend line, support and resistance line. If you go up to the pair, you've got the time frame here daily, you've got the weekly, monthly, hourly, etc. But on here is the type of chart. You've got candles, but if you go down to line chart, it will just make your life a lot easier trying to identify things. So for now, I will leave it there, and hopefully this will give you a bit more of a crash course in the nature of what it meant, as in this is a very quick run through, and you can play around with it and try and find other videos on different topics.